Hello, and welcome to the Daily Political Tarot and Astrology here on the Black and Orange channel. Thank you for being here. I'm here with you every single day of the year, every weekday, weekend, holiday, your birthday, my birthday. It's a new day, it's new art, it's a new discussion. Try to catch a live. We have got a fantastic community, very welcoming. We have got epic troll slayers. Thank you so much. And if you're watching on replay, hello. You can go down in the description box. All the questions are listed there. I timestamp them as I go, so you can pick and choose what you're interested in, or you can watch back on a higher speed, or whatever works for you. And I come on at noon to as late as like 12:15. It depends how many graphics I've got to make and what's going on. But anyway, here we go. Louis is wondering, who is this woman? Just me. All right. Oh, thank you. Thank you. All right. All right. I have an important message for you today. Thank you. And that is that what is going on astrologically is going to cause a lot of people to feel panic. And I don't want you to feel panic, because we're going to get through this. And if there's nothing else you take away from today, please understand that this too shall pass. And we are not going to put up with this. Where it's not the 1930s. Things look really scary right now. They are scary in places. But you can't help anyone if you are in a panic. So deep breath. Just remember, one thing that can help, I know it's a small thing, but the first place to start, one of those things like when you're on a plane, put on your own oxygen mask before putting on the oxygen mask of others. By the way, that's a real thing. If there's a loss of pressure in the cabin, the oxygen will disappear quickly, and hypoxia is a real thing. You will lose consciousness. So they're not kidding. Having worked on the very, very fringes, very edges of the aviation industry, it's a real thing. Okay. When you breathe, for some reason, the way we have evolved is if you take longer to breathe out than you do to breathe in, it will calm your nervous system down. Keep that in mind. So we're going to start with just two breaths. All right. So we're going to breathe in. And we're going to breathe out. And breathe in. And breathe out. All right. So just keep that in mind. All right. Hello, Valerie from Sage the Scales Tarot. Do follow Sage the Scales Tarot. Valerie's a sweetheart. All right. Squeeble says makes no men too. There you go. Pansy says I want to hug the darling kitties. Thank you. That's why I have we have new art every day. There is more in life than these jerks. But we do need to, as citizens of the world, we need to we need to understand what's happening. We need to need to stay informed, and we need to keep an eye on the people who we have given, not necessarily us exactly, but who our countrymen have given power to, or fellow world people have given power to. So, okay. So there is something, at 5 minutes in, I do want to show you something going on in astrology, because tomorrow is a huge day. And I know I regularly lose viewers as soon as I start mentioning astrology. The view count drops. I understand that, but you need to know this. You do. All right. And I created graphics. You know how we usually look at astrological charts? And for example, like this is the chart for Minnesota. This is the Minnesota chart, right? And this is what charts usually look like. There's a lot of, if you just look at the middle, there's lots of red and there's lots of blue, right? I mean, we're used to this. Right now, with all of the outer planets aspecting each other, the chart for right now in the sky looks like this. Can you say a concentration of energy? And the only reason that there's a red line at all is because the moon is moving, and it will move on very, very quickly. It moves faster than anything. So within what, maybe tomorrow or so, it may even, it will can end up. Yeah. Anyway, the point is, that is a whole lot of, Burns is a clothes hanger on its side. Kind of, yeah. This is a massive concentration of energy. We have all of the inner planets up here in Aquarius with Pluto. And that huge clump is aspecting this clump here of Saturn and Neptune and Uranus down here. It's a huge amount of energy. And tomorrow, if you look very carefully, right here, see the trident? Oh, Winged Victory, thank you for becoming a member. Thank you. See this little trident right there? Yeah. Okay, and it says 29, and then a squiggle, for those who don't know astrology, right? And I don't know what that says. It's kind of small for me. 58. Yeah, that's 29 degrees, 50 some minutes of Pisces. That's this symbol here. It's two fishies swimming in opposite directions. So, see that? Well, as of tomorrow, this is tomorrow, that trident, that Neptune, moves to 0 degrees of Aries. Okay, this is a big deal. Neptune stays in signs for a really long time. It moves very slowly. And it has been in Pisces, the sign it rules, since about 2011, 2012. And Neptune, all the god of the oceans, the water, the emotion. It's a water sign, emotional, and it's sensitive, but it rules art. It rules everything that isn't material, spirituality, art, the stories we tell ourselves, the stories we tell as a collective. It's also why we've had this period since then where it's so hard to nail down what Donald Trump for what he's done, nail people down for what they've done. No, there are not alternative facts. There are facts. But all of this super strong Neptune energy in its own sign has made things a little nebulous. Annoying. But you'll find that a lot of people who are very artistic, they often have some kind of strong Pisces or Neptune in their charts. Well, as of tomorrow, Neptune moves into Aries here, and it will stay there for years. And Aries is, whereas Pisces is the ocean. Aries is a battlefield. And Neptune going into Aries becomes the stories we tell ourselves become more real, but also it's a fire sign. It's about action. And when it comes to this martial sign ruled by Mars, god of war, Neptune becomes the propagandist. And so the stories we tell ourselves, the way we collectively view things, and this isn't just for the US, this is across the world, will become more martial. Doesn't mean we're going into martial law. That's an oversimplification. But the reason I'm bringing all this up and I'm making a point of this is so you understand that in the world, people are going to become, what they're telling each other when they act on their beliefs. Overall, the energy is going to become more get up and do. All right? It's only next month when Saturn, which is limitations, which forms things, which does the hard work, it will move into Aries and be like, all right, well, you want to do all this, then you need a quartermaster, you need a trench digger, you need the person who's doing really, really hard work, who's going to build the fences and all of that. So we're going to have all this really strong martial energy, and Saturn's going to come up and be in the same exact place as Neptune. And at that time, you're still going to have this aspect up here to Pluto and that aspect down there to Uranus. So stay calm. If we're going to have all this martial energy out there, remember the propaganda posters from World War II. Keep calm. Keep calm and carry on. And that's what you really, really need to do. So yes, and Saturn, it looks like it looks kind of like a number 5 right above the trident. Yeah, that's Saturn, as opposed to down here, right there. That looks like a 4. That's Jupiter. So even though Jupiter and Saturn are the 5th and 6th planets, their symbols look kind of like a 4 and a 5. So for what it's worth. Anyway, this is a big deal. And we had a taste of this last summer because Saturn and Neptune had moved into Aries, and then they retrograded back. But now they're coming back in and they're staying in. So we had a taste of this last summer when we had the No Kings protests, when there was forward movement on the Epstein files. There is a good side to this because these are called cardinal signs. These are signs that are at the beginning of each of the quadrants, here, there, and up here. And they're like, we're going into the quadrant. That's their energy. We're moving forward. We're pushing forward. So the other thing that's relevant, the other thing I'll say here is we're just talking about cardinal signs that move forward. In the middle of each quadrant, you have the fixed signs, right? These up here. And these are the signs that are like, I'm in my quadrant and I'm absolutely fixed and I'm stubborn and I'm stable and you can't move me. And that's where you get Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. They're fixed signs. They see what they see, they believe what they believe, and they're really hard to budge. And then the last sign in each quadrant is a mutable sign. And that is, well, we're about to go into a new quadrant, so we need to get a little loosey-goosey, little ride the waves. They're called mutable signs because they make it work. right? Fixed signs would call them wishy-washy, but that's each quadrant. That's how it's set up. And the reason I explain that to you is because Aries is this martial sign. But all of this Aquarian energy is a fixed sign. And when Pluto was in Aquarius, the last time it was in Aquarius, it was the 1770s. Gosh, what happened in the 1770s? Aquarius is the sign of revolution. And it is the sign of revolution because it is a response to Capricorn. And for years now, we've been dealing with Capricorn energy, with the hierarchy. You can think of Capricorn. This is the UK and the aristocracy in the UK, and the landed gentry kind of thing. It's about hard work, but it's also about status and staying in your place. And we've had a lot of that with Trump. He doesn't deserve the status he has, and Pluto digs things up to knock over what doesn't have deep roots. Trump is a con man. But Pluto's now moved into Aquarius, digging all that up, bringing up all that energy. So we are also dealing with this throwback energy to when our country was founded, when there was a revolution against the British. So you can see why there have been a lot of astrologers whose hair has been on fire about 2026, because we have all this fixed revolutionary energy, all of this martial energy, and then Uranus down here is going to move into the yellow symbol, the 2 lines, that's Gemini. And that is technology, speeding up, all of it. So it's a lot. All right, that's what's going on. Okay, now, before I get away from this, yes, MKLP, like the ex-prince and Fergie, and yeah, that's, we're out of that. It's like, no, we're not doing that anymore. Excuse me. I showed you this earlier. This is Minnesota. I was going to look at the Minneapolis chart, and I may do that. But the thing about Minneapolis, having lived there, is it's the Twin Cities, and it's not just Minneapolis. You have Minneapolis, and then you have the slightly smaller St. Paul. And I'm wondering about which of those 2 charts, how they're. So it was like, you know what? This isn't just happening in one little place. Let's just look at Minnesota. And this is the natal chart of Minnesota. And I find it very interesting that for all the way over here at about 3 o'clock, if this was a clock, about 3 o'clock, you have that 5 looking symbol right there, that's Saturn. And it is right on the descendant, which is how we interact with others. And I find it funny, this idea of Minnesota nice, because there's one thing Saturn, which rules Capricorn, by the way, is its civilization. Don't act a fool. Let's get along. Let's work it out. So I find it funny that it was like, oh, look at that. Look at that Saturn energy, keeping people. It's the thing about being nice to people and these social rituals we have. They really do make things work better because everyone has their area they're supposed to work in. Anyway, the big thing for me to point out to you right now is up here, that male symbol up here that's Mars. It's up near their midheaven. When midheaven again is ruled by it's generally the midheaven is ruled by Capricorn. So again, it's your status in life, how you achieve in the world. And Mars is right near it. So they work. They're moving. But but it's in the 11th house, which is about moving collectively. So it's, again, nice. You work with each other, which is good. You care about others. And then that is opposite down here. Their Sun and Mercury are right on the IC. That's home. That's history. Their sense of home is where the heart is. So, and it's in Taurus, so it's very practical. It's very, Taurus is the setting for Taurus is farm village. It's Mars becomes the farmer. This growing, this earthy, sensible sense of self. But kids, their moon, right down there. If this was a clock face at 6 o'clock, their moon is in Aries. Remember we saw about Martial Aries? Their emotional nature, they're not pushovers. No, and you don't attack them. No. Because the moon is not only your emotional nature, but it rules Cancer, which is the big mom of the zodiac. So their mama bear energy comes out when they're attacked. Yeah, they picked the wrong state. What ICE is doing is awful, but they picked the wrong state. So the last thing I'll show you, and this will be faster than all the others, is these are the transits right now. You've got that same Minnesota chart on the middle, on the outer area where you've got these things in these planets in red, these symbols in red. These are the transits. And just like I was showing you this, like this clump up here in Aquarius is the exact same as this clump here in Aquarius. This is where these transits are falling in the Minnesota chart. So we go back and forth. I can show you again. This conjunction or near conjunction of Saturn and Neptune moving into Martial Aries is down at the bottom. No, it's down right here. Right down here, which is actually throwing off some good, look at the blue lines in the middle. It's throwing off some supportive energy. But you've got Uranus over here, and it is Uranus throws off this wilder energy, bolts out of the blue, flashes of genius, but also rules Aquarius, revolutionary energy. And it is in the same place as Minnesota's Jupiter, and it is across from Minnesota's soldier, Mars. So that particular transit is setting off this Mars. Ugh. And Neptune, the propagandist, is moving into the sign of Aries, which, while they're not going to be conjunct for a very long time, it's in the same sign. The stories we're telling ourselves are going to give power, give fuel to Minnesota's emotional nature. All right. So I know this was a lot. I know it's a lot to dump on you. And yes, I lost viewers, but you need to know what's happening. And right now, things look particularly bleak because transiting Mars is in the same place as transiting Pluto. You have the god of war and the god of the underworld right up here at the top, highest two things on the chart. You have those coming conjunct, and that is the sign of there's a lot of, traditionally there's a lot of aggression and conflict and maybe even some battles involved when the god of war and the god of the underworld come together because they don't play. Now, Mars will move on. Some of the tension will ease. But having this Neptune moving into Aries and then Saturn moving into Aries, there's still going to be a lot of that martial energy. All right, there. I've talked your ear off. But I did that to show you that there's going to be a lot of energy, but it doesn't mean that you need to panic, because it won't last. It's not forever. Lucky Girl says other words to describe martial are courageous, brave, valiant, heroic, pugnacious, service, gung-ho. Yes, gung-ho. Absolutely, it does help. And we can do that. But what this comes down to is if you're watching what's happening, if you want to help, if you want to contribute, understand that there is, like, as soon as you move to do something, to take action about what's going on with ICE, what's going on with the government, what's going on with all of this, as soon as you turn in that direction and take action, you've got the wind at your back. And it isn't always a good thing. You need to be aware that astrologically, this sea of energy we live in, we are being pushed. And over the next few months, we will be pushed to take action, and we need to do it on our terms, our decisions. We need to, because some of the videos I've been seeing in Minneapolis and Minnesota, you have even some of the most otherwise, how do I put this? Some people who you would think would just be very stable, very, your crotchety old, Uncle Ed, who's not a hothead, not anything like that. And I've seen people like that screaming. I'm not saying they shouldn't be screaming. I'm saying you need to choose. You need to understand what the energy is doing, what it's going to continue to do. So as we respond, we need to respond. We need to do the right thing. But don't let the energy control you in your response. How you respond is your decision. And there will be this push, this wind at your back. And just be like, okay, hang on. I'm going to do something, but I'm going to do it peacefully, and I am going to do it properly. And I'm not going to just pick up a random thing and go rushing in. And thus endeth the lesson. All right, moving on. Beth says cool and calm. Yep. But not ice cold. Lewis says, Avengers assemble. There we go. Chris Goals, know your limitations and what you're prepared for. Yep. Awesomeness says, be careful what you choose. Know the consequences. Yes. There's going to be a lot of energy. And for so many years now, certainly those involved in politics, we've been frustrated that things wouldn't move. Things wouldn't. It's like, can we get on with it? Be careful what you wish for. All right. All right. Speaking of Marshall, at 30 minutes. Goodness, I really did talk your ear off, didn't I? Viking Girl had a question. The Minnesota National Guard has been activated. Will they get ICE out of the state? I don't think they can do that without it coming to violence. And maybe that's what's going to happen. Let me have a look at the cards. Protest 100%. Protest peacefully. Now, does that mean everything's going to be fine? No, because on the other side, they're not acting well. Necessarily acting well. Where did that? Me and my qualifying words. They're not acting well. Hello, Millie. Star says, feel so out of control. Yeah, that's what I've been talking about. No. But you're not. You're not out of control. Minnesota National Guard. Minnesota. I love Minnesota. Minnesota National Guard. I have my concerns about the National Guard because technically it's part of the military. I know it's not exactly the same thing, but yes, G. Green, Minnesota National Guard can be a barrier between ICE and protesters, which is what I suspect will happen. Let's hope. Where was it? I just saw something. Oh, here we go. Helen was saying National Guard is here in Minnesota to back up our local police who are being pulled to the limits. Yeah. Yep. And that's what they should do. Oh, Millie, bless you. Bless you. The Bear says, remember, Governor Walz was in the National Guard. There we go. There we go. So ignore what the White House is saying because they're full of garbage. We're just watching them lie and lie and lie and lie. It's whatever. And on the far right, they say they're actively going after these terrible people. Whatever. No, you're going after everybody, but this can also be everyone else. This martial energy of getting up and doing something against this kind of evil. And when there are executions in the streets, this is evil. We have a fool for president, but this energy feels a little better. This burden, higher wisdom, that is people being held accountable. That is take your stuff and go. Using some higher wisdom here. Cooler heads. With all this martial energy, cooler heads. That's what we need. Taking action, but cooler heads taking action. So, will the National Guard being there, will that help the situation? Will it hurt it? Beth Bluebird says, now Bondie's attempting to bribe Minnesota. Well, she did say that she'll have ICE leave Minnesota if they turn over their voting rolls. Oh, thank you for saying the quiet part out loud. Oh, man. So National Guard being there, will that help? Okay, as long as the National Guard are very, very clear and make it extremely obvious that they will not do anything against civilians, it will be seen as a good thing. But it's going to scare a lot of people to see military personnel in their neighborhoods or around, just wherever they're going. It's scary, or it can be. Institution, big government. Minnesota is strong, but this has been brutal. There is hope. And there will come a point where, see, this is DHS, ICE, the White House, them all. Oh, our victory! It's pathetic. It's tiny. It's this big compared to this major arcana here. This is minor arcana. Oh, great in the distance. Oh, great victory! Look how great we are. Yeah, whatever. It's just, yeah. Strength. We'll get through this. There's hope. So, there is hope, but it's very important that as much as we follow the news and we're like, okay, if I'm seeing the military, that's the National Guard. And it should be okay then. Things could get better. Not everybody is going to know that. Not everybody is going to immediately think that. They may just react emotionally like, oh my gosh, the military's here. What has President Dumpster done? G Green says, don't be scared, Autumn. This is a smart move. I don't know if I'm scared. I'm concerned. I'm just concerned about the messaging. But what's going to happen going forward? What's going to happen going forward? By the way, release the Epstein files. Just throwing that out there. Yeah, Minnesota's not. No, just no. Plus, there's a real possibility that there's going to be a partial government shutdown because senators are saying, no, we're not funding the DHS. So the DHS may shut down in about a week. Let's look at that next. This idiot in the White House in Minnesota, you have a lot of Democrats, you also have a lot of Republicans, and they coexist. When I moved to, I think it's when I moved to Woodbury, I got an apartment there that I had missed. It was like the election I was there, just the previous election, I could have voted against Michelle Bachmann. Bluka. I could have voted against Michelle Bachmann, but her district was redone and it took off the bit of the map that was going down to where I lived. So it was all up here. And she got back into office. So don't forget that Minnesota gave us Michelle Bachmann. That's a young Frankenstein reference, in case you're wondering. Coexisting. Your Republicans, your Democrats. So, yeah, there's definitely a plan here. They want the voter rolls. They want control. Yeah, but yeah, that's not happening. Get stuffed. Yeah. All right. So I want to make sure I get to some of this other stuff here. Got that there. And let me make sure. Oh, I said we'll look at that next. What was that? Oh, I'm so sorry. I should have made a note. We'll look at that next. What was it? Please tell me. Okay, that's not a question. Lucky Girl says, to know more about what the National Guard will probably do in Minneapolis, please check out this video from Under the Desk News. She's great. We love her. So, Lewis says, do you ever think you would miss Bachman and Palin? Oh, I don't. Not even a little. Oh, that's right. Funding for the DHS. That was it. I knew there was something important to read on. At 41:45, and thank you so much for being here today. DHS funding shutdown ? Raymond says Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension and Hennepin County Attorney just sued DHS Secretary Kristi Noem. Good. I am happy to hear it. All right. So 7 House Democrats voted to fund the DHS, and they should lose their jobs at the next election. They're all up for, everybody in the House is up for re-election come November. So, yeah. Bye. But Senate Democrats are saying no. And apparently the Republicans in the Senate are a little split on this one. So there's a possibility that the DHS could lose its funding by next week. This is absolutely bye-bye. All right, DHS. I'm getting a kind of feeling in my body of sharp elbows. Trying to get this done. What happens? The kind of Trump, because if it doesn't go through, Trump or somebody else, they're going to try to move budget from here to there, even if they can't. And then when they can't, then there's arguments and yeah. Knight of Wands. Well, we know what these scumbags are trying to do. Queen of Pentacles, Queen of Wands. These are your Kristi Noem, your Pam Bondie, I know she's DOJ, but they're so awful. Very shaky ground. And then I've got a big old world card, which is an ending. End of chapter. End of book. And then having to leave things unfinished. I wonder if ICE is going to have to leave Minneapolis. It's going to have to leave Minnesota and everywhere else for now. Really? Fingers crossed. Kelby says they'll blame the shutdown on the Democrats like always. Oh, they can go ahead, but we see what's happening. So, will ICE have to leave Minneapolis? Oh, Amy, thank you so much. Thank you. It makes a huge difference. Thank you. This is about where the resources are going. That's a card for the reading. Disappointment. Yeah, we can see what you're doing. There's a lot of sleepless worry, all the grief. But then I've got 2 kings, no emperor. And that basically feels like Walz and Trump. Governor and president. Nice guy, scumbag. So you're saying there's a chance. Melissa says, I think the country would like to see some act of defiance from the Democrats. Yeah. Oh, no, Amy, you're wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. CJ says, I was thinking that ICE leaving might be part of the negotiations. There's a possibility, but just leaving there probably wouldn't do it. Thank you, Beth Bluebird. 508 watching, only 280 likes. Please hit the like button, please. Up here, and B. Smith saying subscribe and hit the notification. It really helps Autumn. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so down here, G. Green says leaving Minnesota means they're going somewhere else. Yeah, that's kind of the fear. Also, some of these people need to be arrested and charged with murder. Judgment, big judgment. We see what you're doing. It's wrong. These are U.S. citizens who are not they are not attacking you. They're just there. Oh, maybe they've got a camera. You know, there's a saying. When people go out into the wilderness, and the saying is, leave only footprints, take only pictures. That's what these protesters were doing. Leaving only footprints, taking only pictures. And some of them weren't even doing that. There needs to be justice for what happened. And this chaos will not stand. No. But it doesn't mean that Gnome and Bovine and Herr Bovine and Frau Gnome are going to be quiet. So, yeah. So, because we are because we need to keep an eye on economic stuff too. I just want to make sure I cover this at 50/20. So dumpster fire is now threatening Canada with 100% tariffs because they had the temerity to make a deal with China, a trade deal with China. Oh no. None of your business, dumpster fire. 100% tariffs. Oh, that just flew out. Chris Cole says, I saw a hair bovine get trashed on CNN this morning. Oh, I'll have to go find that. Oh, Amy said, I thought it was 200% tariffs, and Canada said, may I paraphrase? Oh, yes. Trump's idea of you are beneath us. You are lucky that we even trade with you at all. Canada, you do you. And Americans, we already know that. We already know this kind of garbage hurts our economy. So we're just buckling up for whatever, unless of course Canada can find a way to give him a big fake award, or find a way to make sure he makes millions of dollars, find a way to funnel money to him. But no, you do you, Canada. Okay. I can't think like this jerk. I just can't. Beth Bluebird, yes, Epstein. Let's have a quick look at that before I go. Yes, the bear a participation gold medal. Yes, every day is his birthday. 53, 15. Yeah. So how's the Epstein stuff? Epstein files? Question mark. Let's have a quick look. What's up? Hey, hi. Yeah. 2 million documents. Oh, Claire says thank you from Canada. Thank you for not. I'd like to thank every one of you out in the world who have not just abandoned all Americans as being as heinous as this president is, because we despise him. Katie and Proud, Epstein, and document files. Yep. Ew. Ugh. Yeah, I got the right energy. Yeah. All right, there are definitely some people still pushing for. Yeah, this is people pushing for accountability, helping those victims they can. There are decent people in this world. There really are. World, Page of Wands, Magician, King of Swords, Six of Pentacles. So they're, for now, they're just going to keep having everything just trickle out for now. Ooh, but with all this martial energy moving forward, remember what happened when Saturn and Neptune were in Aries last summer. There was forward movement. So, are we ever going to get the Epstein files in any kind of timely manner? Pam says, what happened to Bondie having to turn over the files back in December? Yeah, it's still in the courts. Last I heard, she was arguing that the law doesn't apply to me. Oh, no, she was arguing the Congress people who brought, who they created the bill. There's a word for it. That they didn't have standing to do that, or they don't have standing in court. It's like, sit down. Oh yeah, there's movement down here, big showy movement, but it's at the end. Strength. We're not giving up. Yeah, they are very much on the defensive. Look how small these cards are. They're just there's not much going on. There's trying to hem and haw. And then suddenly you get wham, Chariot. So there's a chance to move forward. It's just a matter of, it's probably just a matter of the astrology moving forward. So I would guess if we look at this again in a few months, the energy will probably be very different. So, all right. Hang in there. I worry. I know it's not all about me, but I worry about you. Please remember that with this astrology and going forward, there's a huge, there will be a huge wind at your back for anybody who is trying to take action in any kind of martial way. So you can do it peacefully, you can do it in a way that's effective, or you can fly off the handle, or you can let panic overwhelm you, or whatever, but you've got the choice. And it makes it a lot easier to deal with if you understand the energy in the sea of energy you're in. If you understand what the currents are doing, it gives you your agency back so that you can go, oh, okay, I understand. I'm going to choose how I want to act. All right. So please, yeah, keep calm. Visualize 70 says, don't worry, Autumn, we'll get through. Excellent. So thank you. Valerie, from Sage the Scales Tarot, plan before you jump. Yes. So, okay. Please remember you're not alone. We're in this together. There are good days ahead. I know sometimes it seems like there aren't, but there are. There are so many more of us than there are of them. So hang in there. It's 1:16 p.m. here in Chicago. At 3 o'clock, I'll be over on the Creative Sprints channel. It's Sarah's day off, but I'll be there. Hope you can be there too. And we're going to be productive. And then I will be right back here tomorrow like I am every single day. And some of you are too. So we are going to be back here just like every single day. And we're going to get through this. All right. Hang in there. And as always, I'll see you later. Okay. Bye.